Welcome back to my window cleaning training series. In this video, I'm going to go over extension poles for window cleaning. There's a couple different options for extension poles, and the two options are going to be aluminum poles or carbon fiber poles. Let's talk about the big differences. One of the most popular extension poles out there that most window cleaners use is an Unger Optilock extension pole. This is always my favorite as an aluminum option. You have your Unger Ergotech cone tip there as far as to hold your tools on through a pressure fit or with the buttons here. And then you have your collars, which you are going to loosen just like that to extend the pole. You tighten them so that it doesn't collapse, and then you loosen the collar so you can collapse the section. This is going to be the same through most aluminum poles on the market, between Unger, Ettore, Pulex. Some of the different poles like Gerlich have an internal stone that where you just twist the pole and lock it the same way, but it doesn't have an external collar. Really nice thing about these poles is that, like, one, if the tip ever breaks, you can replace that. So these typically are about like $8 to do that. If you ever have one of these collars break, you can get the outside collar, which is this green piece, and then you can also get the gray collar on the internal, which is called a stone. Then you always usually have a nice base handle to it for a good grip there, and then it kind of has a non-slip part there on the bottom as well. Not all extension poles are made with that. This is kind of a newer style of the Unger Optilock pole, but aluminum is, like I said, the typical first kind of pole you're going to use for window cleaning. Aluminum can be really, really good. So this is a 3-section 6-foot pole. Aluminum extension poles can be really good, I would say up to like 16, 18 feet. Even when you get to that amount of reach, you're going to have a lot of bend in the pole when using your squeegee at the top. So what that's going to do is it's going to make it harder to control the pole at that height. So even though they're a good cheap option, probably good for employees, that's where we go to the next option of doing carbon fiber. So carbon fiber is going to be a lot better when fully extended because you're not going to get a lot of bend. It's going to be a lot more rigid and it's going to be a lot more stiff. Now, when you get a carbon fiber pole, like let's say a Zero Trad 12 like this one, it's going to be about double to 3 times the price of aluminum, but you have so much more control and it's so much more durable that you're going to have that pole for a lot longer and you're going to be more efficient. How is this pole different from an aluminum pole? So we already went over, it's going to be a lot more rigid when fully extended. That's the main thing. It's going to be lighter because it's carbon fiber. Also, with the actual clamps, these are going to be different from a collar that you're going to loosen and tighten. You're just going to flip open the lever, extend the pole, and close the clamp. That way you don't have to untighten a collar and then tighten the collar to stop it from collapsing. And then you just put it back down and boom. This is very helpful in the wintertime when your hands get super icy and you're trying to, loosen these collars and untighten them. It's difficult. It just wastes a little bit more time. So being able to just have the lever there, extend and collapse is super nice. Also, you can buy everything here as replacements, replacement clamps, replacement tips, replacement sections. And also with like zero carbon fiber poles, you have a lifetime warranty on the sections and clamps, so you're pretty well covered there too. So overall, biggest thing is going to be when fully extended with these poles, you're going to have a lot more control with the carbon fiber than aluminum. It's just this is going to be a little bit more expensive than an aluminum pole. The biggest thing to go over with extension poles is that none of the handles used for window cleaning with squeegees or scrubbers are ever going to have a female thread on the inside to thread on to this Acme tip. That's just not how they work. And they don't work that way for professional window cleaners so that we can work quicker. If we were threading on each tool, tightening it, cleaning the window, threading it off, putting our scrubber or towel on, and doing it that way, we would be very slow. We wouldn't make a lot of money. So the way that professional squeegees are is that with most tips, it's a friction fit. So I'm not locked in here, but I'm still very tight. I have to use some muscle to actually get it off. Now, depending on if you really want your tools to click in, I would suggest keeping with the same brand of scrubbers and squeegees with like Unger. So you'd go all Unger tools to keep that quick locked on. But just once again, none of the handles are ever going to be threaded. You're never going to be threading on like this. You're basically going to either have a clip-in system or you're going to use a friction fit with the tip. From From my experience, I have found that the Unger tip holds most tools best. If you ever use a ledger tool from Companion Tools, you're most likely gonna wanna put a wood cone on this Acme thread. That's actually gonna hold a little bit better. You get it wet, it expands a little bit and holds on really well. We'll get into that in a future video. But that's the biggest thing to remember with the extension poles, because that's always the biggest question. What tools are going to fit? A very popular tool we haven't got into is called a Technopad handle with a walnut pad scrubber on it. There is no extension pole that is made for this handle where it's going to lock in, but it friction fits with everything. So sometimes I get the complaint, oh, this doesn't lock in, but look how snug that is. I have to grab the base here and twist and unlock it. So that's going to make you a more efficient window cleaner. And I mention this so that you don't overly worry about that part, and so you just get going. Now let's take these poles outside. I'm gonna add some extensions onto this pole, and then I'm also going to get a larger aluminum pole and be able to show you just a little bit of techniques and the biggest difference that we went over as far as the rigidity, stiffness difference between aluminum and carbon fiber. Okay, so first I'm gonna show you from this angle as far as kind of the technique, as far as how you're gonna use the actual pole and clean the window. And I'm gonna show you a technique on a window that's about at 20 feet. So when you're using extension poles, you're never gonna be muscling it down at all. You're gonna let the weight of the pole do the work. So let's just say I have this pole extended this much. I'm always going to, at the top of the pole, whatever my dominant hand is gonna be more towards the base. And then, so I'm right-handed, so my left hand's gonna be up here. It's just gonna be like a pull cue. This is just gonna guide it as far as the glide there when you're extending it down. So typically if I'm squeegeeing a, let's say a 2-foot tall window, it's about 10 feet up or 8 feet up, it's just a small pull like that. Now, if I was doing a really large window, maybe 5 to 6 feet, and it was very high up, I'm gonna have to use both of my arms. So what does that motion look like? We begin with the same motion as far as having your right hand either at the base of the pole here or just as much as you need. And then you have your guiding hand here. And so when you're coming down with the pole, once you reach where this arm is fully extended back, that's where this hand is finally going to grab on and guide the rest of the way. This way, when you're pulling a window, you're not walking backwards to finish the window off. So you basically have it here, you're pulling the window, you're bringing it down, your right arm fully extends backwards, and now your left arm is going to finish it through. So dominant hand is starting the motion to come through. Once we reach there, then the other hand is going to grab it and bring it through. But the most important thing with that is just that you're never going to be white knuckled like we talked about with the squeegee. We're never going to be like this on the pole. We're just going to be very loose just in here. And then when you're fanning on a pole, the motion is going to be all from the twisting here, but we're not going to go over that in this video. So let me show you now, as far as when working on a tall window, kind of more what this technique would look like. So I talked a lot about the biggest difference between an aluminum pole and a carbon fiber pole. So what I'm going to show you right now is just cleaning a window with a aluminum pole and then cleaning the window with the carbon fiber pole, so you can see the big difference when extending the pole, and I'll just show you some of the rigidity of it. We're going to clean it first with just doing the scrubber and the squeegee separately. So I want you to see this. A lot more floppy. You're gonna be able to scrub the same, of course, as far as that goes, but it's just more, as you see, you don't have as much rigidity. Now, I don't know if you can see it really, but there's just this kind of weird kink right here, even though I'm fully extended. So I see kind of a weird kink at the collar there. It's not horribly pronounced, but it creates some odd angle issues for you. So when you see here, we're guiding through I've got this on a swivel. So it's not like it's unusable at all, but you just get more inconsistencies, which gives you less control. And boom. So that's it with the aluminum pole. So it's just not going to be as controlled as it was with the carbon fiber pole, but definitely possible. So if you're looking more for a budget option, this is great. And especially for employees that are going to lose poles all the time, this can be really good. So carbon fiber, we're going to be able to extend it pretty fast. Dip our mop in. You can tell in this video I'm trying to sell you on carbon fiber. It's going to make you a happier window cleaner. So even though these are just training videos, I'm for sure trying to tell you that I definitely do this. So we have the same size mop on there. Look at the floppiness. Hardly any movement at all. Just very, very straight, which is allowing me so much more control that now all I have to worry about is good technique with my squeegee, rather than also trying to account for the bend in the pole when squeegeeing down as far as the technique goes. So got my squeegee at the top here, got my top hand here like a pool cue guiding it through. I'm never having to move my feet. Same thing with this, I'm angling the squeegee down a little bit. Same technique. Boom. So as you can see, just a lot more rigid of a pole to collapse. It's rather fast and smooth. Just an overall easier experience. Now let me just zoom in there at the top for you so you can just see some extension pole technique real quickly. You can see how easy it is. So I'm going to talk about a couple different things here, even though this is an extension pole video. One of the things I have here is a swivel T-bar at the top here to scrub the window with. Now, if it was fixed, I would only be able to do this motion here, just up and down to scrub the window. We're never going to jam the top too much so we don't get too much solution to possibly drip once we squeegee off in detail. Nice thing this allows me to do is have the T-bar like this as well if I want to scrub side to side, or I have a ledge that I need to get over. This is going to clear the edge a lot better, but just gives you a little bit of different variables as far as how to scrub. Scrub the window. We bring the pole down. Now when I'm bringing this pole down, even though you can't see me, I'm not collapsing the pole. I'm just bringing it down while it's still extended with all the sections, so I save myself time. Now, here, I don't have a fixed squeegee, I have a swivel squeegee. So I'm not going to be fanning this window, but this gives me a little bit more play in what I can do. So I'm at the top edge here. I'm gonna fan like we did in the straight pull video here, and I'm gonna pull down. I'm letting the weight of the pole do the work. I'm not at all putting any strength on the pole, and I'm just keeping a good angle. So I have the squeegee here at 40 degrees. Now I'm at the top here, I'm gonna angle the squeegee down. So you see that motion there? That's so that I don't do this and get a bead of water there off that corner that's on the dry glass. So I'm right here, I squeegee down, and boom, we're good to go. Now, it's gonna take quite a bit of practice, but then you're gonna detail the window. You can either tie your towel on your pole, or this is a maker handy sleeve, and you can Velcro microfiber to it, and then you can just detail the edges and detail the top like so. Makes it pretty easy, and you could have another towel if you want to clean the frame or clean the sill there. But that's pretty much how you're going to use an extension pole to do most windows. Of course, you can have a combination tool as well. So that's really it as far as extension poles go for window cleaning. We got our two options here. We got the aluminum, we got the carbon fiber. I've talked a lot about the difference between them, some of the replacement parts, and a little bit of technique. I do have tons of videos that go into high pole techniques, showing fanning, showing straight pulls from over my years of in the field, so you can definitely check out those. I'll put those in the description. I'll put links to both of these poles in the description as well. If you have any questions, of course, comment below, and I'll talk to you all soon. Have a good day. Bye-bye.